And we're back with David Coffey talking about the SCORE initiative on This Week in Roane County. David, can you tell us a little bit about how this initiative is going to affect the local school systems in Roane County?
Well, it absolutely will affect the local schools, and of course, as the SCORE initiative is implemented and as the Race to the Top changes are implemented, we will see a lot of changes going on in the schools. As I mentioned before, one of them is that tenure doesn't mean what tenure used to mean. If you can't show the students are learning, then tenure goes by the wayside. So this is an elementary change. This is a fundamental change. It really has to concern everybody to make sure that things are being done right. Now, at the local level for SCORE, what is being done, Senator Frist and his group, Senator Frist typically steps to the side and lets the operational people do it, and the one who's working this principally is Brad Smith, who will be in contact. They are establishing people in the local areas who will work in several ways to support the schools through these trying changes, and they are trying changes. Since there will be more demand on the students and on the teachers, the expectation will be that the public backs this up. Now, you can't have one of these things where everybody says, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do this, we need more money. It's not about that. Frankly, this is about what goes on in the classroom. It's about the education that goes on at the gut level. And so you have to face up to it, and we have to change it. The reason I say we have to is that the Tennessee SCORE report points out that roughly 3/4 of our students are not getting it, are not ready to go into high school. But when they come out of 8th grade, it varies. It's a little bit different between the mathematics and the reading. In reading, 74% are not ready. In mathematics, 77% are not ready. You can't expect the high schools to do the job if they're not ready when they come to the high school. So we've got to do a better job at the lower grades and continue doing that job through the high school. But when you look a little bit closer, you find that those coming into the elementary schools are not ready, or into the middle schools are not ready. You can look at the record and see about the same fractions not ready there. Come on down to the elementary schools. They're not ready either. Okay, what's happening? Well, what's happening, of course, is that the parents vary. Some parents are quite educated, and those students will come out and do very well. Some parents do not have the educational background. The kids come from the whole range of backgrounds, and coming into kindergarten, what is found is some of them are like 3 years behind the other students. Some are like 2 years ahead. You have a range of 5 years in the educational level of these kids. And the parents have assumed, and it seemed like a rational assumption, but the parents have assumed that the schools will take care of that. It'll be all right. It has been shown very clearly in a recent book that the schools don't take care of that. The students who are behind stay behind. With rare exceptions, they stay behind all the way through their schooling career. But there is a way to catch it up. Over 90% of these students can be brought on track, can be brought into regular education, and can be fully capable of handling it. But you have to do it differently. And doing it differently means you have to take those kids who are well behind and give them additional instruction, direct instruction, where you're explicitly working with them to get across the alphabet, the numbers, the shapes, the colors, all these things that other kids have come into schools knowing. You've got to do it for all of them. And you've got to get those that are behind, you have to give them an accelerated boost. Forget about some of the other stuff. What do you remember of your 3rd grade social studies? That's right. Who remembers that? But you do have to learn, you've got to learn to read. You have to do that first. The literacy is number one. Then you fill in the blanks. You start filling in the background information, and this is where the science and social studies and all comes. But you've got to get the literacy right. You've got to get the numbers right to be able to get the rest. And that's what you find that you really can do. It can be accomplished. And on that website, Education Consumers, you will find a link to the ready, I think I said ready to learn, prepared to learn. Actually, it's prepared to learn. But when you look at that, you can find as much detail as you want about exactly how that is done, about the book that tells the whole story, and about how it has been proven before that you can take these children and get them up. Right now, 3/4 are not ready. 90% can be ready. That's a big difference. That's 10% not ready instead of 75%. Big, big difference. That's what we have to do. And that's what basically the new requirements are coming with. Incidentally, mention one, there is one school in Tennessee that stands out amongst all the demographics and everything else, and one high school that stands out with their accomplishment, and that's Gatlinburg-Pittman. I have not visited with them yet, but I certainly follow their numbers. I don't need to go in the classroom if I see the numbers. I can tell you that they are doing a phenomenal job with their kids in that school. And I understand that the way they're doing that is with the American Diploma Project. Well, guess what? The government, the governor in particular, has brought the Tennessee Diploma Project, which is the equivalent program that's going on there in Gatlinburg-Pittman. That is coming to all the high schools. So all of our schools now will have the Tennessee Diploma Project. That's the thing you've been hearing about that requires additional math, additional schooling, additional math and science in particular. But it's that Tennessee Diploma Project that's going to put the heat on the high schools, and the other accountability will keep the rest of the schools moving on up to do it right.
What can we do in Roane County to combat the high illiteracy rate here locally and incorporate the parents into some of the education for their children at such a young age?
Good question. And actually, of course, we do have a lot of parents who have not had the opportunity or have not taken the opportunity to get the schooling they would like to have or need to have. The things that can be done on that, there is, of course, adult education. It's a difficult thing. Once somebody gets to that stage, my mother worked with adults who were not readers, and it's tough to get them out and to face up to that at that stage. Better to get them when they're young and work on that part. But as you work with the children, the parents pick up on it too, because you are working with the parents at the same time. When they bring the books home, when they bring the things home, all of us goes. What we can do is to be positive about this. We can be in our letters to the editor, in our comments to the media, and to the schools. We have to be positive to get this change done.
Well, David, we only have a few seconds left, and I would love to have you back another time. This is very near and dear to my heart. Everybody out in Roane County, thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to visit education-consumers.org. Education-consumers.org. Find out exactly what Mr. Coffey was talking about with us today. Thank you again, David, for coming in and speaking with us. We really appreciate this. Roane County appreciates this. I appreciate this. Everybody, thanks for watching This Week in Roane County with Julia Hurley, and we'll see you next week.